This week on Football Mezzanine, we take a look at perhaps the biggest upset in Champions League history as Roma dump out Barcelona. We also look at a scintillating Liverpool side crushing Manchester City and analyze the incredible scenes that took place in those final minutes at the Bernabeu. What a week of Champions League football. Great games, classic entertainment. This is what Champions League has been missing for the past 2 or 3 seasons, where it's been the same teams recycling, rinse and repeat, you know?
Barca dumped out, and then today I thought Real Madrid were going to be dumped out.
What an ending to that match. Oh, but we'll get to that later.
I was at work today, actually. Well, you were with me, Tristan, and we watched like the third goal went in. We watched it go in, and then we left for the gym after we saw it's gonna it was like the 90th minute, and then we left for the gym, and then we get to the gym. It's like the 90th plus 6th minute, and then Real Madrid get a penalty, Buffon gets sent off, and then I'm like, oh no,
dude, absolute scenes. But we're gonna start off with probably the biggest upset: Roma dumping out Barcelona, who were in their own right to be favorites for the competition.
Barca were definitely one of the favorites at the beginning. This is actually a nightmare for them. This is probably goodbye to their manager too, thinking about it. I don't see how he's gonna stay on.
Yeah, Valverde is gonna go, but that's like what, the third.
Well, I mean, they were hailing him essentially prior to this matchup for having such a great season, doing well in the Champions League. I can't see him necessarily getting kicked for this, although it is going to hurt him. And actually, going back to the odds, Barca, I mean, we all called the prior week that it was a done deal for Barca, a done deal for Juventus, and then Bayern we called as well. But I mean, I don't think anyone expected this. Actually, odds-wise, it was 12-5, which was essentially just a little over 2.0 on odds for getting
not
your
to
money
progress, though,
for Roma to beat Barca in the second matchup, and then tie-wise, yeah, not to progress. I can only imagine the odds progressing, how much money you would make off of that.
It's ridiculous. I'm happy, though, for my boys Dzeko and Kolarov. They made it further.
Okay, so before we continue, because just in case anyone hasn't seen it, we're going to do a bit of a recap. The first game was 4-1 at the Camp Nou, which was Barcelona Stadium, where they won 4-1. And then we go into the second leg where everyone's like, okay, it's essentially done at this point. No one's going to be able to come back that many goals against Barcelona. But going into it, you have to keep in mind that Roma has a pretty good record at home, and Barca also has a pretty bad record away from home. So, yeah.
They do. They really do, yeah. It's shocking for a club of that stature. They pulled a Barca. Roma pulled a Barcelona against PSG last season.
Just like the only word to describe it is remontada, which is a play on the Spanish word remontada, which translates to comeback. And I think that perfectly displays it.
That's an interesting one. That's a good one.
Yeah, I thought it'd fit.
It fits.
And that again goes to show how important that away goal is in the first tie. Because Roma had that.
Yeah, like people did say like Barca didn't play too well and they ended up getting a 4-1 win, but like that seemed like.
And this again goes to show this Barca team, if Messi doesn't show up, the team essentially doesn't show up, which is worrying.
Oh, and boy, did Messi not show up in that second leg.
I don't think you need Messi to concede. Like, Messi is not the reason they conceded, though. It was just because of poor defending.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I think it's.
Well, I mean, it was a whole team failure, but Messi obviously makes a big difference.
Sure, but I'm not buying into the fact that without Messi, they're not a good team, because they did go through a spell last season where I think Messi was injured. And
I agree with you.
Or it might not have been last season. But I still think they need to take a long look at themselves after this, because no one saw this coming, and I think they just took it way too casual for this game. And once you go into a game thinking it's going to be an easy win, in the Champions League at least, that never works. That never works out.
Well, it was crazy because, I mean, they literally they tied on aggregate. It was 4-4, but they won by that one away goal, which is just absolutely incredible. In fact, it's the second biggest comeback in Champions League history after the PSG Barcelona matchup of 2017. But if you take into account the actual team's caliber, I would argue that it's probably one of the biggest comebacks, or the biggest comeback in Champions League history.
And the scenes at the end in their stadium, oh my god, all their players were crying. It was an amazing place to be. Just fantastic.
Oh yeah, the fans were crying. And just even the Roma players, Costa Manolis at the end when he scored that last goal, just losing his mind.
And the coach,
Roma
coach was like, stop celebrating. We still have like 8 minutes. Stop celebrating. He was going crazy. He didn't know whether to celebrate or whether to like calm down.
And you know what? I'm partially saddened because as far as the Spanish league goes, like I'm a fan fave for Barcelona, and if I would base it off that, I would pick Barca for the ideally win. But you know what? In this game, it's just the underdogs. Just seeing that, you know what? That was essentially, it was just too good to see.
Almost the story of the Champions League this season, though. Underdogs performing. It's the story of the Champions League.
Yeah, you know what it is. Liverpool, Juventus almost basically pulled it off, and we'll get to that later, but and now Roma just pulling off arguably the best, or at least guaranteed the second best comeback in Champions League history. And I think that anyone who saw that game, you saw history, and it was beautiful.
And now I think this is the first time in the Champions League in recent times where the four semifinalists are from different countries, because you have Italy, Spain, England, and Germany.
Is that actually the case? Is this the first time?
I think so, because before it was either Barca, Atletico, Real, right, in the semis. They're all from Spain.
Yeah, there's
in
always
recent years.
Spanish league
dominance. There's
dominance.
at least two Spanish teams, and this time, not the case.
And always Bayern. Bayern always makes it.
Yeah.
We had that period with Dortmund in the semis with Bayern, so two German teams.
Some really interesting matchups.
And yeah, and generally for the Italian league, if anyone makes it, it's Juventus. So it's nice to see a
Roma,
different club make it this
Yeah.
time, especially since the Italian league's been having a lot of trouble for the past few years, just as far as keeping up to pace with what they used to be. They're
Yeah.
so it's nice to kind of see a little bit of a resurgence from
Yeah,
them.
Napoli's this year as well has been doing really well. It's a
Fantastic
shame they went
team.
out
They
early,
have.
but it's just because City were too good.
A young Milan
But-
team losing to Arsenal too in the Europa League. Dude, we were just like ruling it out. Like on the last episode, we were just like, yeah, Barca, yeah, no problem.
Oh yeah, it was. I think Barca themselves ruled it out. That's why they lost. You know? Like it's. I wonder if it's just them being incredibly complacent, just having a terrible day, or I wonder if the squad is starting to get a little bit old.
Let's put it this way: if we put points to all of our picks, I think we'd all be absolutely losing and probably in the minus.
To be fair, I think most people would this year because there's just been so many
That is
upsets.
true.
So
if anyone bet on the Roma matchup, it was going to put some. The bookies were going to be pretty pissed off after that one.
And Madrid just scraping through.
But let's go back to the Roma one.
getting back to the Barcelona point I made about their squad getting old. What do you guys think about that? Like, do you think because I personally think that most of their team now is over 30. Because like, if you look at their core, it's still pretty much Piqué, Busquets, Iniesta, Messi, Suarez, and I think all of those players are above 30 now.
Busquets, no, he's like
Sorry,
27
yeah.
or 28. Rakitic is
Busquets.
like 28 though too. Paulinho, I think, is still under 30. I think 30 wise, you really have Thomas Vermaelen, if I remember correctly, Suarez, Messi, Piqué. But other than that, I think they're either like late 20s to early 20s. So I wouldn't say they're an aging squad or an old squad, but they do have a couple of older players that they're gonna have to look to hopefully soon replace.
No. Coutinho they brought in to replace Iniesta. There's talks of Griezmann being confirmed for next season.
So do you guys just put this game down to just a massive collapse in the moment?
Yeah.
Like
Well, I put it
nothing
to
else
two
in
things.
that?
It's an absolutely massive collapse on Barcelona. They had a terrible game, but more kudos go to Roma. They had an absolutely great game. So on top of just being so clinical and getting like most of their shots on target, like Dzeko had an absolutely great game. Kolarov played great as well. And even
my
their
boys.
boys, Man City's old boys. And then even like Schick had a pretty good game as well. So all around they just played together and they dominated
Every
Barca.
player showed
Honestly,
up.
Would you say
Yeah.
Chook Barca? I would. I would say so.
I wouldn't, but I would say Dzeko did.
Yeah, he did. Serbian and Bosnian boys.
Even that penalty from Daniel De Rossi was essentially as a result of Dzeko's work.
Yeah.
He got pulled down by Piqué in the box
Yeah.
there. A blatant pull down. I don't know what Piqué was
I don't know
thinking there,
what
but maybe
the ref was thinking. He didn't initially give the penalty. He had to wait for
Oh.
his linesman to tell him. It was like,
yeah. Well, he was waiting, I guess, for the linesman behind the net or something like that.
yeah.
I guess he just wanted to be certain if he was going to do it, to be sure.
Sack them all. They're terrible.
VAR.
Fix VAR. VAR is so bad. Fix
Well, they didn't need
everything.
it there, but Man City
Yeah.
needed it for their game.
Yeah, they did. We'll get
Fix
to that, though.
everything.
We'll get to that. Oh, we certainly will. Anyway.
The fouls were incredible in this game, though. You had 19 fouls against Roma
Stop
and 10
giggling,
against
Shrikar.
Barca.
I can hear you. Yeah, the fouls. You mean Barca fouled Roma a lot?
No, I think this is called for fouls. Roma got called for
oh.
19 fouls,
Yeah,
and Barca got called for 10. 29 in total. It's still
I
incredible.
guess they had to be a little bit aggressive to beat them, but I really
Yeah,
was
physical.
shocked by Barca's inability to go through this situation because they're like Champions League stalwarts. They've been through this many times. And a crazy stat that I read today was this was Iniesta's 22nd Champions League quarterfinal. 22nd.
Jesus.
That's ridiculous. And it's probably his last
That's
one.
11 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said that himself, actually, that this was most likely going to be his last one.
Yeah, he did.
And I wouldn't be surprised. I think he's. I think after
he's
this
won it,
season,
no
he's probably
regrets,
going to
right?
call it.
So-
He's either going to call it or he's going to maybe end up moving to the MLS. That'd be interesting.
Go to China, boy.
No,
Retirement
man, I'd
league.
love to see him go to the Galaxy for some reason. Just him and Zlatan together.
I'd like to go.
They won't. I don't think.
Or TFC, Toronto. I would be more than happy with that,
I
too.
wouldn't mind him at City.
Fernando Torres is leaving too, Atletico. He's
Yeah.
gone after the season,
Yeah, he
so
is.
MLS for him as well.
Who?
Fernando Torres.
Torres.
Or comes back.
I'd
Oh,
like to see him at TFC.
I'd like to see him back at Liverpool.
I don't want him at TFC. We
You guys have.
We can
By
get
the way,
someone else.
shout out to TFC. Made the Champions League of the CONCACAF, the finals.
It's like the
So it's
Champions League of
basically
North
the same-
America
Is it, oh,
and
okay.
South America.
Gotcha.
and South America.
Oh
sorry,
yeah, sorry, I
as
do
well.
know what that is.
So it's basically because Champions League is Europe, right? Then
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is like CONCACAF instead of UEFA.
Who are they playing in the final?
I think it's Club America.
Okay.
Or
That'd be the
American
Mexican
team.
South
League.
American team.
No, it'd be the Mexican
Yeah,
League,
South
I'm
American
for
team.
sure.
And this is the first time. And apparently, the road to the final has been pretty tough for them because they faced a lot of the South American sides that traditionally beat the MLS sides.
Right.
But yeah,
Yeah, good
shout
for
out
them.
to them.
Yeah, they're starting to do well.
The club has existed for 10 years and they've won an MLS trophy and are in the final of the Champions League. So
Well, I mean, yeah, they have a lot of money.
yeah, it's good shit. Who cares?
See, that's the thing with the
Don't worry
MLS.
about
I
MLS.
don't think it's necessarily the teams that are responsible for the money when they bring in major players. I think it's more the league that helps them out a huge amount. Like the league almost has a lot of the funds and then gets it, and
Yeah, I would be
Then kinda
surprised.
Because it's the
distributes them.
underdog league, right?
so I think it's almost a collaborative effort versus where you see the European powerhouses where they're just unilaterally buying
Yeah.
whoever they want.
Yeah.
Also,
Yeah, I
it's the
wouldn't be
case where the
surprised.
MLS is rallying behind where every single MLS fan is going to cheer for Toronto FC, but you wouldn't see that in Europe where a City fan is going to want Liverpool out in the next leg. They wouldn't
Fuck
want
Liverpool.
to see-
Oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
right. But
Yeah,
the
well, there's a
entire
lot of
league gets
hatred.
behind that team.
There's a lot of hatred from opposing sides or different fan bases.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's not the case in MLS right now. Because the rivalry, it's a new league, so I guess.
Give it a few years.
Honestly,
Give
I
it-
just
give it a
think
few years.
I just think it's a different mentality. European football is a lot more intense and passionate. MLS is more just
It's how, I don't like the American leagues simply because of the franchise or the way the transfers work. Where
How do they work?
It's like a draft, right? I don't like that system.
it's
I
kind of
hate
like the
that.
NBA.
Yeah, the
Well-
NBA
Oh,
or
I know
the
what you
NHL
mean.
or the NFL, all the American leagues are just different in the sense of their player strategy, how they bring in players.
Yeah, I really don't like the drafting part of it.
I don't like it because it's not like it's a culture thing.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's just different cultures.
Because there's no identity for the team, in my opinion, like that. You know, like the team can change, have a complete refresh.
Yeah, I mean, American football is just like, you know, a bunch of people getting together for like a nice chill beer, watching a game, and then.
Well, yeah, exactly, I disagree. I completely disagree with that, Ansh. That's such a.
That's really.
That's so critical.
I'm sorry,
and I completely disagree with that. Like, there's some stark contrasts. Like, for one thing, the fan base is actually pretty passionate. If you go to TFC, every single game has been essentially sold out. Every single game. And not to mention, if you take just the amount of people that have immigrated into Canada or even the States from like South America, Europe, like other places, they're bringing that passion of soccer, right?
I went to a TFC game just this May, and half the stadium was empty. And like there was no singing.
They're still sold out though, right? Maybe
you didn't go for the right game then.
Yeah, you're not going for the right game. They're singing a lot. Like, it's loud.
They were playing. They were playing Chicago, I think, where Schweinsteiger was on the opposing team. And I mean,
I don't know.
It was
like just went to a bad game.
Because I went for the Canada Cup finals where we played Montreal.
I mean, that's a massive game.
That was crazy.
No, but like even going to other ones, I've been myself. It's crazy. Like it's essentially almost always sold out, and the fans are pretty loud. Obviously,
but again, the MLS works a little differently than the traditional American leagues in the sense that MLS has to work hand in hand with Europe to get those players. So they work fundamentally the European way. They work differently to the NHL or the NBA. I don't like the draft system in the franchise.
I think the only reason the draft system's there is because the teams themselves don't have the financial basis to really bring in the players. So I think what happens is the MLS league itself helps. But how can you decide, oh, we're going to help this team and not this team? So that's why I think there's a draft. So it kind of helps order like, okay, this is the team we're helping to get this.
Oh, you know what I really hate? I hate the pick system. I hate that. Like for fifth pick or like 30th pick.
For like rookies coming in, or like essentially
rookies coming in, or just for like first round pick in like the draft or the free agents. Where if say the Maple Leafs finish 30th, or I don't even know how it works.
Wait, are you talking about hockey or soccer? They get preference
the next season. No, hockey.
Football. Oh, okay. Oh, well, actually, hockey I don't mind. It does well with hockey, but we're getting off topic. Completely off topic.
I see why it's
we're going off topic completely, but like.
Anyway.
I see why it's there, but I don't like it.
Okay. Anyway.
But going back to the real deal, European hardcore football.
Yeah. So Roma was the upset of the round, no doubt. And I think moving on from... Wait, what? You don't agree?
I think actually, you're right.
No doubt. But leading on from that, what was very close to being another one was Real Madrid versus Juventus today. And I was just talking about this, how we were watching it at work, and it was 3-0, and then I'm like, okay, it's going to extra time. And then we get to the gym, and it's like, Ronaldo has a penalty. Buffon is sent off. It was just, oh no.
It was insane, too, because going into the first leg, Real Madrid took the lead 3-0 away. So that means they had 3 away goals. So essentially, if it comes to a tie, I mean, they're absolutely done. So... And like Barcelona's game and with Roma, no one expected Real Madrid to drop like maybe 1 goal, but not nearly as many as they did. And Juventus was just all over them. Over them, just kept pummeling in their zone.
Sergio Ramos wasn't available for Madrid, so their defense looked immediately. You could just tell it looked really shaky. They didn't know whether to go close to players, whether to back off, and like it was really easy for Mandzukic to score all the goals that he did. And I think. It's really worrying when they're so reliant on one player.
Like the way they started was just how City started against Liverpool. I think it was the same like minute and second.
But it's different crazy. Because they were away too. So like they didn't have any crowd backing. Yeah. They were like Real Madrid just.
I mean, to be fair, Etihad didn't really do much either.
That's not true, Shrikar. It's just not true. But
the fact that Juventus was able to pull 3 goals up right till the end, and honestly, it was around the 60th minute where they scored that 3rd goal.
It was so simple.
And honestly, they were all over Madrid at that point, and I honestly thought with the remainder 30 minutes, they would easily bury in another just to finish them off. And it gets to that 90th minute, and you're just like, okay, it's gonna go to extra time. and then go potentially maybe into penalties. But I figured, okay, extra time's not a big deal. Juventus still probably going to pull this off. Gets to the 93rd minute, and then that penalty, like they give the penalty, and then Buffon just loses his mind on the ref and gets a red card.
And to be fair, it's understandable. It's understandable. He had a Zidane moment. I was waiting for him to headbutt the referee.
What were you saying?
Ends his career with
Bald Fraud Part 2?
Yeah, Zidane. Bald fraud Part 2. Almost.
Honestly, the fact that Real Madrid got that penalty, they lucked out with the win. They didn't deserve this win. I mean, the combined, I guess, aggregate between the two games, you can maybe give it to them, but they got very lucky on this one with that penalty shot. But
dude,
that
Ronaldo,
penalty shot was beautiful.
Oh.
That penalty shot was beautiful. Ronaldo put it right in the corner. And even
no goalkeeper saving that.
And the goalkeeper picked the right side too. There was no way he'd get it. Absolutely none. Unless you knew exactly that it was going there in advance, then maybe you could have saved it.
Even then, the power behind that shot.
Yeah, it would have been hard. It absolutely would have been hard.
Yeah, it's brutal for Juventus to
Even
go
if you got a
out
hand
like
to that, that's still going into the top freaking right corner.
Like, if you could write a story and that's like the most brutal way for Juventus to get knocked out today, you couldn't.
Dude, I wasn't
write
even
it
surprised when he
than
took
that.
off his shirt. I'm
What?
like,
It was
you
heart
deserve
crushing
that.
for them. But here's the only thing I was really kind of not irritated by, but that bothered me was Buffon's actions in that case. Like, sure, you're pissed with the call, and I can understand, like, you know what, maybe talking to the ref, but the way he lost it, he wasn't thinking in advance. Because let's put it this way: say he doesn't get the red and he gets into it, or in it, and for some reason they save that penalty, they are not down a man. But if they if they saved it and he got that red card like he did, they were down a man for the rest of the extra time, and that puts such a disadvantage for them.
Yeah, I mean,
also the thing is, it's lucky they had subs to bring on Chesney, because if they used the subs like Madrid did,
true.
you have to have an outfield player.
Just put Higuain in net.
Dude, Higuain would have saved that.
I'd put
man.
Mandzukic in net. The guy was on
Oh
fire.
yeah, he is a tall fuck.
Oh yeah, he had a great game.
But it's
imagine like the headlines if like an outfield player came and saved it. Oh,
yeah,
man.
but I mean, here's the thing though: it'd go to extra time, and then if then Real Madrid still can't score, it goes to penalties, and then like what can you do?
Oh, that.
And then
actually, I would have loved to see that. I would have loved to see that. That would have been so.
That would have
hilarious.
been like Champions League history right there.
Just Mandzukic putting some gloves on, trying to actually stop something.
And then he stops them, and then they go through. That would be like legendary.
That'd be
Imagine if they won. No.
Oh my god.
But
like, I'd give them the trophy right then and there. Like, no finals, no semifinals. Fuck that.
Well, the other notable thing is they were out without Paulo Dybala.
Yeah, and Mandzukic was his
that was
replacement.
a huge hit to them.
Suspended.
He was Dybala. Yeah, I mean, he was suspended, but Mandzukic was his replacement in the team. And
honestly, that might have worked out for them.
It worked out for them perfectly as far as they're concerned. But I don't know. Just going back
and Mandzukic seems to have Madrid's number.
How easy it was for him to score. Just like it was so easy for him to score, and it's kind of worrying for Madrid that without Ramos, they look so shaky. Even the goalkeeper, like, he didn't have the confidence in this game, and he spilled that third shot, which made it Matuidi's tap in.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Well, at least starting with the Mandzukic goals, Juventus themselves took full advantage of his height and his capability at heading. He is probably one of the better headers out there, for sure, hands down. And the fact that they took advantage of it on two of the crosses and right to him, great passes and beautiful finishes. They took full advantage of that, so props to them. But going, to that Navas, that screw up. Unfortunately, it does happen to the best of the goalies, but to happen in the Champions League game like it did on that third goal was just heartbreaking for him.
Yeah,
and he must have felt so bad. He must have felt really relieved after that penalty went in, because if they had lost, everything would have been on him. And he probably still might get transferred this summer, but it would have been an easy reason to transfer him.
The entire Real Madrid team must have felt
let De Gea,
so relieved.
Let De Gea go to Madrid, please.
Dude,
you know what?
I want to see De Gea in the Premier League. De Gea's like, I want to see him in the Premier League, even if he plays for United. He's just
no. I'd rather.
He's the best of the best. It's like I want to keep watching him. I don't want him to leave just so I can keep watching him.
I don't know.
wanna watch
Personally,
him.
depending on how much money Real Madrid would offer for Courtois, I would potentially take that deal.
Courtois overrated in my opinion.
Courtois,
No, he's a great
big
keeper.
lad.
It's just and he always plays really well. As
Hey, this
of
go-
late, not so much.
It's got to
but-
be thinking though. There was no Ramos, which made Navas a little shaky, and then this season Courtois not been doing well, maybe because of Terry's lack of presence.
Dude, Terry
in
didn't
that
play.
back line.
Terry didn't play last season either.
No, but Terry is the season before when they won the league.
they
Terry
won the league
was
last
playing
season.
every single
No,
game.
they won the league last season.
No,
He didn't play at all last
Mourinho's
season.
No, Mourinho's season. Yeah, but still, like that, just having a leader in the back line
Yeah, for sure. Leader in the
think-
back line helps.
just helps the keepers in general. Because you see VVD and Karius,
Yeah.
same things happen, an upturn in form with the leader in the back.
Screw Liverpool.
Well, we could have had a classic on our hands. And to be fair to Juventus, 3 goals at the Bernabeu, and keeping Madrid out.
Yeah,
Oh,
Real
that's
Madrid
hard-
are definitely
hard to
counting
take.
their lucky stars after this game. They were
Oh, it's
really
heartbreaking.
lucky to like Zidane when Ronaldo scored. You could see like he's like, "Fuck!" Like, finally,
Yeah.
you know, like
The pressure.
he was.
If
he
he
was
had
like,
any more hair on his body, he probably lost that too.
he was like,
If he had any more hair in his body, he would have lost that too.
"Oh man."
But this is interesting. Going into the semis now, we have Bayern, Real Madrid, Liverpool, and Roma. I mean, 2 of those sides completely unexpected.
100%.
Unexpected, not really, but
Oh come on.
What do you... Come on. Barca,
Nah,
Roma
nah.
over Barca, completely
okay,
unexpected.
Roma unexpected,
And even
not
Liverpool
really.
over Man City, that's unexpected as well.
Yeah.
It was just more reasonable to think than a Roma
Yeah,
over
okay.
Barca.
Yeah, like if you told me Liverpool would make the semis at the beginning of the season, that's ridiculous. That's amazing for you
Nah, I
guys.
believed it.
I would have been
I
more
believe
surprised
it.
with Roma.
Oh yeah, for sure. But
Yeah,
just
Roma
the fact
seems
that they made
because
it
Roma
is-
lost Salah, and they still made it.
Oh, true. Salah could come up against his former side.
Dude, Salah
That
to
would be
take off his
interesting.
Salah to switch jerseys in halftime if Liverpool draw Roma.
Do you
and
think-
just score for both teams?
Do you think he would score? Celebrate if he scores against Roma?
I don't think he would.
No,
He
he's
seems
too
kind of like the
nice.
classy type.
Yeah, he does.
He's too nice for that.
Yeah, he probably wouldn't.
Unless it was like a really, really high profile, like if it was like a 93rd minute winner.
Well, I mean,
Oh,
any
yeah,
goal in the
maybe.
semifinals is really high profile. But
Yeah, so like if it was like an opening goal, maybe not.
opening goals are really
Ooh.
hyped though.
Actually, that'd be interesting to see Liverpool versus Roma. And
I want to see the semifinal. Yeah,
Yeah, because then
'Cause
then
that
you
is
have
one of those
them
teams in the
progressing.
final. That's
I'd be
that's
happy
hype.
with either. Yeah,
That's hype.
that has the
That's hype.
potential to be like what Lampard when he faced Chelsea and came back and scored against us.
yeah.
That was a bit
that's
Except-
such.
More hype.
way more.
And guess
hype,
who?
yeah.
Guess who made that goal? James Milner, assist king.
And Juventus has a knack of just getting... Last thing I wanted to cover is just Juventus has a knack of getting so many fouls. They got 20 in that game.
Dude, Madrid just have Juventus' number. You know.
They got
Like,
6 yellow
what can you
cards.
do?
6 yellows, 1 red.
Juventus they must hate the sight of Madrid. They always like lose to them, no matter how like what the game.
And this
no
one they
matter
didn't
how well they
deserve to
play.
lose either. At least not the second leg. It's just... It's unfortunate how it happened, but huge upset. And that's the second huge... Well, not huge upset, but like almost potentially an upset. An incredible game to watch.
Yeah, I can't imagine
Made for a
what
great
the-
couple days.
what the repercussions would be if they went out at that stage.
Dude, apparently there was a brawl in like the media center of Bernabeu, like where all the press was, with the Spanish and Italian press like having like a full out fist fight.
Oh man,
Really holy.
Oh crap.
Yeah, in 90, like it was crazy because BT tweeted this at the 97th minute. Like the Spanish press were thrown out, the Italian press were thrown out. It
We
was
should get
empty.
footage of that.
That's crazy.
There probably is some CCTV footage somewhere. They're probably not going to release it, but
Probably not.
Yeah, so we can move on, I guess, from this game.
Yep.
So 2 ridiculous Champions
the
League
other game
ties.
that took place today, Bayern Sevilla.
You want to talk about that one?
German efficiency.
No, I think we should talk about the game that everyone else wants to hear about, which is the Liverpool Man City game. Because a
We
couple
are
controversial moves
Liverpool,
going on there.
tra-la-la-la. We are Liverpool. Tra-la-la-la.
I'm proud of them. I'm proud of the team. I'm proud of how they approached the game. How they
See, that's pretty good. Most of the Man City fans I've seen so far have been slightly on the salty end.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I'm definitely salty towards the referee and all the decisions that constantly go against us in the Champions League. But
there's the salt.
In terms of asking anything from the team, like I can't ask any more from. I can't expect anything else.
I think Pep bottled it.
I think Pep couldn't have done anything more, and I think that first
half... I'm not talking about tactics, but I'm talking about him sending himself off to the fucking stands.
That wasn't him, dude.
Completely not necessary.
Are you kidding me,
That wasn't necessary.
Klopp's reactions are much worse, and you know that. If he said that... No, come on. No, you can't argue that.
To be fair, in a case like this, you have the high-profile game of the second leg. The goal got denied when it should have been a goal due to an offside, which it wasn't offside, and that would have set Man City at 2-0, and they only needed one more then to tie it up. And the fact that it then kind of shifts a bit of the momentum and gives the opportunity for Liverpool to start making a comeback, which they did, it makes sense that he got irritated at that call, and it's understandable that a coach at that point.
But you don't lose 5-1 on aggregate with refereeing.
Okay, stop! No, you're making a blanket statement there.
No, I'm not saying I'm not saying anything about the 5-1. I'm just saying purely Guardiola losing his shit. It made sense, and in fact, from his point of view, the other benefit of losing your shit and getting sent off is hopefully that it kind of boosts your team and kind of gives them enough motivation to hopefully kick their asses in the last little bit of the portion and come back and win it.
No, but you know that this ref hates you, so like, why are you going?
Well, just that fact by itself proves how biased the refs are. Like, ref.
Well, first off,
but like, we
can't necessarily say that, because where, Shrika, are you getting that the ref is known for hating Guardiola?
Actually, the Guardiola said that the ref has something against him.
Yeah, he did say in the pre-match press meet, he did say. And when you know that, I just think for a manager who's so experienced in Europe,
okay,
just
not even talking about that. That's not even related to the result, but that happened because of terrible officiating, and Guardiola being sent off.
It was bad officiating, but it also didn't.
Like, I agree too. The officiating was bad, but
yeah, the point is, Man City did unfortunately get outplayed by Liverpool in the combination of the two games. But there was some bad officiating, unfortunately, against Man City, and it could have changed the outcome potentially in that second leg.
If the aggregate score was 2-1, 3-1, I'd completely...
I think games are defined of moments, and that moment would have completely changed the game, because when you're 2-0 up, that's 3-2. And it
was the TSN turning point.
It was literally the biggest moment of the game, and I think that one decision changed the entire game. And I think if you look at it in any way, you'd have to agree with that.
No, but then again, you're going into halftime, and after halftime, you might not come out the same way.
You're going into halftime
You've seen that before too.
Yeah, that's the most important thing. You're going into halftime either on the back of a massive 2-0 lead and being buoyed by that, or you're going into halftime with the shittiest feeling where you just got denied a valid goal and your manager's now been sent off.
Okay,
and
but
now Liverpool are going in confident.
To be fair, Ansh, not necessarily a shitty feeling for the team when their manager gets sent off. And most of the time it motivates the players. And in fact, when I was playing, we had one of our coaches that actually did that on purpose so that it would hopefully motivate our asses. Unfortunately, it didn't work, but... Well, it did work, but it wasn't enough to come back in the game. We had a bad one, but that's one of the reasons that it can sometimes coaches will do it.
But I think we're going away from the fact of the quality of goals that we saw. Salah with that exquisite chip. Oh my god!
I mean, it was kind of an open net.
Dude, look at the angle, and look at you had a defender there.
I would expect Salah to finish that. I'm just being completely fair here. If Salah doesn't score that, I'd be like, that's kind of shocking.
But going to the Sané offside.
I'm being completely serious. If Salah doesn't, it's an open.
Sané and offsides. Name a better duo.
Funny one, yeah.
Name a better duo.
You got that from the Liverpool subreddit.
We already mentioned that joke off the air.
Dude, Sané was playing the entire game in offside. Every single run he made was offside.
Yeah, especially the one he scored. A lot of good runs,
a lot of close calls.
Especially the one he scored from.
To be fair, that one was a goal. At first, also to be fair, kind of to the ref, I also thought it was offside initially looking at it. I had to look back at the replay in order to actually
that was very hard.
See that it was.
I know the decision went against you guys, but from the ref standpoint, without VAR, you wouldn't know it came off Milner.
When I
if
saw
you're there
it
on the sidelines without camera angle. Okay, but
To
that's
be
'cause
honest, I
you're a
was
City fan,
watching
you
it.
expect it
I
to
was
come out of-
watching it with a Liverpool fan, and we both immediately agreed without the replay that that was a goal. Like without even we just saw it and we're like that shouldn't have been disallowed.
Newly formed Liverpool fan, we should stipulate.
No, I'm not talking about Nathan. I'm talking about Nick. Nick was watching it with me.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah.
Oh, no, he was a Liverpool fan.
No, Nick is a massive Liverpool fan, and I was surprised. Like he was completely honest. He said that was a goal right away, and then we watched the replay and then we confirmed it.
I measured my heart rate during this game after the first goal. It was at 192 beats per minute.
That first goal, like we
It was
started
at a- I
You
was-
need to go for a run, boy.
Dude, I felt sick after the first goal went in. Like, I physically felt sick. Because you can't concede a goal away in the first minute.
Van Dijk with his
It was...
pirouetting like
That was a fucking foul on Van Dijk.
I'm sorry,
okay?
dude. That's not,
That's a fucking foul.
that's like the Mustafi Aguero moment where he like touches him and then he pretends to like fly
okay.
away.
I know Van Dijk fucked up in the sense that you're always taught to play by the whistle, and he didn't do that, but that was a foul.
I don't know.
So stop complaining
I don't
about
think
refereeing
so.
decisions, okay?
Oh yeah,
'Cause
stop
you wouldn't
complaining.
you would not have had that goal without a fucking refereeing decision. So I have reason to be upset with the refs too.
I don't know. Honestly, you can replay that. I don't think that was a foul.
That's a foul. That's a clear foul.
Dude,
Come on.
Sterling is fucking half Van Dijk's weight.
How is that relevant? That's a blanket statement right there, mate.
It's not because you're saying he
That's a
pushed
blanket
him to
statement.
the, like,
The
was gonna-
size does okay. If a small lad steps on my toe, sure, it's gonna hurt. It's a foul.
he didn't step
You
on
can't
his toe.
compare size. Okay, I know it's a statement, man. I know that didn't happen, but you can't go by size, being like, oh, just because he's a small lad and he's a big lad, he should be stronger, and that's not a foul.
Well, he
That's a
embellished
foul. And without
using
that foul, he
using
wouldn't have the goal.
Tristan's favorite word. I don't know. I mean, he was gonna clear it anyway. He cleared it, and then Sterling pushed him. If anything, so the clearance didn't get affected.
No, but that doesn't make sense though. If the referee blows the whistle, you don't have that pass to Jesus who can score.
Well, you're saying
Were you going to say embellished?
yeah.
My favorite word.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
That's because a lot of players in the league just embellish their dives. Like, they'll get hit a little bit, and then they'll just
No, I'm
embellish
seeing
it.
this more recently too, where players are grabbing the ball without the referee like blowing the whistle,
No, that's
expecting
stop
the
the
foul.
play.
I'm like, mate, what are you doing? Like, you have to play by the whistle. You can't just expect, oh, it's a foul just because you think it's a foul and you can grab the ball. Like, no, mate.
I'd like to go a little bit more in depth into both sides of as far as team play. Let's start off with Liverpool. I noticed that for one, they were playing very defensive. They were just in their zone, just protecting. And
Dude, we were
Man
shocking
City
the
was,
first half.
it was interesting.
Man City was
because
we were
all over them,
shocking.
all over
thing
them.
is, I don't actually think they were trying to. They were trying to press really hard, but then they just constantly kept getting rebuffed.
We couldn't.
And then they're
Yeah.
just like, we can't keep doing this. So then they got deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. And by
Man
like
City's press
and-
was beautiful.
it was working perfectly. Like Guardiola switched to a back three for this game, with Walker as one of the center backs, like what England did, and it worked so well. We were 2-0 up at halftime. Oh no, we weren't, because the second goal didn't count, right? And then
You wouldn't have been 1-0 either up if the referee made the correct decision.
right,
so.
yeah, and we would have been 2-1 in the first leg if the referee made the correct decision. But
That's a
basically,
blanket
like it
statement,
worked
man.
really well. His tactical switch, and Liverpool couldn't cope with it. But then in the second half, I think it just killed the entire game. The whole decision plus the sending off, and then like we kind of lost our momentum. Liverpool were able to get back into it, and then the Salah goal just killed the entire game.
Two of the only flaws I can find in the Man City side. One, the amount of offsides they had, far too many, and that comes down to, I mean, it's either going to be poor passing or just the offense, just again jumping the gun a little bit.
A little too eager.
Yeah, they had 8 offsides that game. That was far too many. And number 2
To be fair,
was
though, most of them were like on the edge, like 2 centimeters
close.
off.
Yeah.
Like,
But to be fair, they were
well,
all correct.
That
If
still counts,
VAR
though,
was in
right?
place.
So, I mean, it's still too many. And the other issue I had was their, like, on-target conversion. They had 20 shots and only 3 on target.
Well, I mean, that happens when a team has 10 players behind the ball.
And 9 corners and only 3 on target,
No, but
including
to
the
be
shots.
fair, that happens when a team packs all their men in the penalty box.
No. In this case, we can't be. There's no fair in this. They unfortunately weren't clinical. They didn't finish, and they didn't get the shots on target. And it is tougher. I know what you're saying.
Those stats look bad, but when you look at the actual shots that took place, most of them were long range because you couldn't get into the box, and that's why the conversion was so bad. Like
Man
if you
City
look
had
at
some close-up opportunities,
very
sure,
very few.
The Bernardo Silva shot against the post, that was dude, my heart was about to explode when I hit the post.
Oh yeah. Oof.
Oh my god.
Yeah, again, that was outside the box. Just because we couldn't get in the box, there were 10 people inside the box.
Yeah,
right?
but also to be fair,
if you look at
City's games that they were winning, that 18-game win streak that they have, the stats were very similar, except the only difference is we were able to take 1 or 2 of those chances because it was a lower quality team, or we actually got decisions for us. The stats have been very similar for all our games this season. It's just when it didn't go for us, it looks bad.
If we're gonna be fair, though, I mean, professional players at that level should be able to hit the net from outside the 18.
I think that's
the
a bit of a
18's
blanket.
not very far.
I mean, look at the goals we've scored. I think we have done well throughout the season. I think just one.
No, I'm not
bad
saying
game.
throughout the season. I'm saying this one game. I am explicitly covering this one game. The rest of the season, you guys had an impeccable season. Unfortunately, the past few games have been rough for you guys, but otherwise. But I'm looking at this strictly. There's this one game.
3 games.
I guess no, but all this media shit is taking away from the fact of how clinical and good Liverpool have been. Everyone's just ignoring that fact. It was all influenced by everything else. We scored 5, and people are just ignoring that fact. I'm
Liverpool did well in the first game, not so much in the second game. Honestly, the second game, I think they got lucky. I think they got very lucky. They did all right in the second one, but they got lucky. Man City.
But the 2 goals we scored were still quality. Firmino presses your defender up in a place where he should not be giving the ball away at all.
I mean, at that point, I don't even blame Otamendi because we were 4-1 down.
But then the thing, that's where the mentality comes in again. If that was Liverpool at Anfield, we still would believe that we could achieve that. We'd still roar out, we'd cheer our team regardless. And I saw City fans leaving the stadium.
Yeah, I mean that is true.
I
can't argue with that. City's atmosphere is terrible, and Liverpool's atmosphere is the best in Europe. But I mean, you can't even deny that as a City fan. Obviously, that's true. But
it's indisputable truth.
I talked about this before. I wanted to see City fans singing throughout the game.
Dude, they were so hyped in the first half. That first half was the loudest the Etihad has ever been.
That was fake hype.
What do you mean
you guys
fake hype? What does that even mean?
Flags placed on every seat.
So wait,
that's so fake.
What do you hold on? Whoa, what does that mean? What do you mean fake hype? What does that even mean?
Dude, the club has oh shit, how can we replicate Anfield? Oh, let's freaking buy flags and place them on every seat. That's not how it works.
I'm talking about the atmosphere, dude. I'm talking about the atmosphere.
Trying to create the atmosphere.
Did you hear the first half? It was so loud.
I was laughing my tits off.
The first half was actually loud.
When I saw the plastic flags, are you dumb?
Wait, I don't know what you're talking about.
Atmosphere like that.
Wait, what do you?
I'm loving this.
I actually don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, I'm talking about the fact that Manchester City Football Club placed flags on every single seat in color coordinated order
I'm talking
to try and create an atmosphere. That's not how you do it.
I'm talking about the sound levels. The sound levels were as high as they have been all season, and that's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about fucking flags.
Wow, great! Your fans showed up for a high profile game.
Yeah, and that's what you said they should do.
Expected to.
Yeah, I mean that's what you just said they should do, and they did. So I don't know what your argument is here. It doesn't make any sense.
No, my argument here is that you're trying to fake an atmosphere, and you can't do that.
Shrika, you're arguing yourself here. You said they created an atmosphere.
How am I arguing myself? No, it has to come from the fans and not from the club. This was a corporate gig, essentially, where we're gonna play sounds over the sound speaker. Oh, we're gonna give fans some free flags to wave around before the game.
The fans didn't do that. The club did. The club put flags here, but the fans...
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. That's embarrassing. How the fuck can the club do... Why? How do they think that that's going to work?
Is your argument...
It has to come from the fans. It has to come from the heart.
Are you arguing against the fans or the club right now? Because the fans did show up.
How are you against the club, not the fans? Not the fans. Well, then make that clear. Because whatever in the limited thing they could.
Yeah, they did, is what I'm saying.
I'm talking about the club.
Dude, I don't fucking care if the club put flags on the seat. I care if the fans sang, and the fans sang.
Oh, good job, mate. The fans.
Yeah,
said.
there you
I'm
go.
pretty sure
But
that.
I'm talking about.
No,
What do you mean by flags? Do you mean like those squares that fans will hold up and it shows like
No.
images
If you looked at the game, every single seat had these blue and white flags that.
Oh, you're
city
talking about the ones that make a
placed.
picture?
No, he's talking about just
No.
like
When you
normal,
hold them
like,
up,
flags
when
with
you hold them
red.
up, they make a
the
massive
Champions League
picture in the
anthem when
crowd.
they started.
Yeah.
No, when it
you hold
started,
up. You
the
hold up the
Champions League-
flags, and then they make a massive picture.
No, Ansh, he's not talking about that because that's what I asked him, and he said no. It's like just flags, like blue and white flags, just like with their crest.
You know
and
the flags
whatnot.
you wave around for the Champions League anthem.
Oh, okay, those ones. No, but
In
they also had
the very beginning of the
They
game.
also had pieces of paper that you hold up, and then they
Okay,
make
there
like
was
a
one,
massive
there was this
club
one
crest.
banner that looked fan made, which said MCFC OK, and I like that.
Yeah,
That
we
was
do that
great.
for
That was
every
good to
Champions
see.
League game.
Yeah, that was great. But like, just giving the fans those flags was just so cringe.
Well,
just watching that, I'm like,
Trigger, that's
Congrats.
pretty commonplace in a lot of teams that will do that.
No,
One,
but that's
number
for like
two,
an occasion.
I think-
for like,
For like what?
go on.
No, I'm
What you mean? Well, I was gonna say number two. I think that's pretty fair of the club. I think it's important that they should try and make it and build a better atmosphere for the fans on top of it. Because if the fans are gonna put so much work in, it only makes sense that the club should put a little bit of effort into it too, right?
Yeah, I don't really see your argument here, Shrikar. I think you're just like laughing, but like cool. Like you can laugh at the fact that they put flags there, but the fans showed
I don't know,
up
it just
and it
felt
was
a bit tacky to me. You know, it felt a bit.
sure.
It
and
didn't feel real.
I don't disagree that it was a bit tacky, but if you're talking about the fans not showing up, then that's just not true. The
No,
fans
no,
showed up.
Just-
no. I'm not talking about the fans not showing up. I'm talking about
Okay,
the club.
well then,
not the
that's
fans.
not
The fans
really-
tried whatever they could. You know.
Just have a couple more whiskeys. It'll get less tacky for you.
The fans showed up. They tried, but
Yeah.
obviously no one's as hype as Liverpool fans are for the Champions League because that's the only trophy they can win. So I mean, good for you guys, but I think we
how
showed
many,
up.
How many titles do you have in England? We have 18. Come back when you've won 18.
Sorry, how long has it been? Were you alive for the last one? I don't remember.
For the last what?
Premier League title?
The most decorated club in Europe.
Has Liverpool
the
won
most
the
decorated
title?
club in England? Not the PL.
Not the PL.
Not the Premier League. Before it was rebranded, we won 18. with the
Yeah,
FA,
and once
then
it
we
was
had the
rebranded, you guys have 0, right?
It's all down to the marketing team with the rebranding.
Just avoid the question like a top-notch lawyer
Oh my god.
or politician.
Yeah, a good one.
All right,
You know, if it
moving
was
on
never
to the Barca
rebranded,
Sevilla.
It wouldn't have
Let's move on to
happened,
the
you
Barca.
know?
Or not Barca, Bayern Sevilla. Bayern Sevilla, guys.
Bayern Sevilla.
What was your take on it?
Personally, this was my favorite
I
game
don't
of the
think there was
round.
any take
This
on
was
it.
my favorite game of the round. Also,
Yeah,
I love ironing.
I don't think
clothes.
anyone gave a shit because everyone was watching the Madrid game instead.
Also, I love ironing. Yeah, the second leg 0-0, pretty boring game. I mean, I'm surprised Bayern didn't score. Lots of opportunities, quite a few on target.
They didn't need to though. So like,
Sevilla didn't have a single game on target, but it's still, I mean,
Sevilla had some close shots. I watched the highlights, and they had some. They hit the post once too. So
Dude.
hey,
Classic
a
Sevilla.
respectable loss for Sevilla. 2-1 on aggregate against Bayern, top-notch German team. You know what? That's a pretty good,
yeah, good for them,
finish
yeah.
for
Yo,
them.
Sugar, remember what we said last week? We're like, they have this so much play, and they'll hit the post like 3 times, but they'll never put the ball in the net. Like,
Yeah.
Sevilla have so much possession, but they can't finish.
If they just take those chances,
It's ridiculous. But yeah, exciting game, best game of the round. I loved it.
Yeah, it's too bad Ever Banega, the best player in the world, couldn't finish them off.
yeah.
Fucking
and then
Banega
Korea
gets
got
played.
sent off at the end.
Fucking Banega gets played in the Argentinian national team over Dybala and like Icardi. It's amazing.
Yeah, you know what?
Yeah.
That's a whole new set of issues.
Anyway,
It's. But yeah, we got 4 teams progressing. 2 that are arguable in the sense that no one expected it.
Let's talk about matchups that it would be
Dude,
for the
Klopp,
semis.
No, I just have to say, Klopp was grinning the fuck out in his post match. He was just like hiding his laughter. It was the best thing to see. Klopp was like actively trying to suppress his laughter. Ooh.
So let's go to preview for essentially matchups for the semis. Shrikar, I want to go to you. Who do you want Liverpool to face of the remaining teams?
Doesn't matter. Bring any of them on. We'll twat them at Anfield.
You're saying
I don't
Liverpool
care.
will take
I don't
any
care
team,
who
you don't
we
care.
get. I don't
Really?
care who
You don't
we
have a
get. We're in the
preference at all?
semifinal. I do not give a fuck. We got City and we beat them. So
You don't have a preference
screw
between
them.
Real Madrid, Bayern, and Roma?
No preference. No preference.
See,
I don't
alrighty
care who
then.
comes
See,
up,
this
we're
is
gonna beat them.
this is why the English team slot is wasted on Liverpool. If City made it through, we would actually be serious about winning it.
Okay.
Liverpool are just gonna get out now.
Mm.
Dude, no. In all honesty, though, looking at the teams in the last four, I'd say Liverpool have a great chance of winning the entire thing this year. Like
Yeah,
Real Madrid
I think
showed
so
how
too.
shaky they are in defense. They're really shaking defense today, and
Who,
like the
Liverpool?
rest of them,
Oh,
Roma
Madrid?
obviously. Yeah, Real
Roma,
Madrid.
yeah.
Roma obviously, like they beat
I'd love to
Barcelona,
see.
but I mean,
No, but if I had like a choice per se, I'd say Roma, just because I want one of those two teams in the final. I wouldn't be salty if Roma went on to win, if they beat us.
yeah, I'm
I'd
sure
cheer
you'd be
them on.
salty if you had a goal taken away in the second leg, and that was
No, I wouldn't care.
Oh, sure you
Like-
wouldn't. Yeah.
No, dude, we made it to the semifinals where no one expected it. This is already it's exceeded all expectations for this season. And if the semifinals is where it ends, then okay, great. We gave it a fucking cracking go. We've been the best team in Europe this year in terms of stats, most
I
goals.
think you're
least
underrating your
conceded.
team now. You need to start
I'm not
having some
underrating
hope.
them. I'm just saying that I'm happy with the season so far. And if we go on to win it,
This is
do
why
I want
City
them to go on
should
to
have
win
been
it? Yes,
through.
of course I do.
All right,
No,
Ansh,
man.
I want to take this to you. Who's the matchup that you want to see? And include bias if you want, exclude bias. What's the matchup you want to see? What will be the most interesting game for you, or matchup, I guess?
think I really want to see Liverpool Real Madrid. That's gonna be the star
Dude,
matchup.
I don't
you
wanna
know?
see
Pure revenge?
No.
wanna see
I actually
Real-
want to
Off the
see that
record?
game because Liverpool and Real Madrid have some really interesting history, especially at Anfield. And I'd really like to see that matchup this year and see how they face up. Because Real Madrid are really shaky defensively, but I want to see how they face up against this Liverpool team, and I want to see if they
Alright.
can beat them.
Fair enough. So I guess let's. We're getting a little bit short on time, so how about we go to our awards and let's start with the biggest disgrace of the week. So again, recap for anyone who doesn't know. We just essentially, if anyone screwed up major, anyone cost the games, anyone played that horrid, they get the biggest disgrace of the week. And we've notably given it to managers before, whole clubs, organizations, like West Ham at one point for that whole
West
debacle in one of our
Ham.
old videos. And I'm going
Credit
to go
to them
to...
though, they've come back. West Ham are doing good in the league again, and I don't think they're going to be relegated.
Yeah, but
Surprisingly.
Shrikar, this week, or this past at least since the weekend, who gets your biggest disgrace of the
I
week?
swear to God, if you say bald fraud,
Bald fraud.
No, you
It
really?
has to be the one,
Ugh.
the only Pep Guardiola losing
stop,
3
dude.
games
It's getting boring now.
in the
Can we-
span of a week.
Okay, honestly, it
Could
has
be
to
4.
go.
You're
it has-
facing Spurs
it
at
has-
You're facing
it
a
has-
Harry
listen.
Kane who just claimed. By the way, fuck you, Harry Kane. What are you trying to do claiming a goal? That's the most embarrassing thing I've seen all
That's
week.
not even his fault.
Jesus
He's,
Christ.
he's like, oh, a strand of hair touched that ball. It's
Jeez.
my goal now.
Talk about.
Oh, okay. Now you're being overly hard.
Talk
We
about-
excuse.
No. See, we had this similar situation this season where we scored 7 against Spartak away. I don't remember who, but Salah and Firmino both hit the ball at the same time. Nobody complained about whose goal it was. We were just happy it's in the back of the net.
Alrighty,
And-
I think I speak for all fans. We're tired
fuck
of the
Tottenham.
Liverpool, the whole Liverpool talk right now. Tottenham fans,
Tottenham.
we excuse his
Man,
bashing of you for
calling
always.
me salty. Look at you go.
All right, Ansh, I want to hear for you. Who's the biggest disgrace?
Yeah,
of
I'm
the week?
salty. Fuck Harry Kane.
Nice.
Trying to like, it touched a strand of my hair. I'm gonna claim this goal now.
Oh my god.
It's okay. Salah's gonna score 3 at Stamford Bridge, and it's gonna be all okay.
Congrats.
Ansh, who are you going
Enjoy
with?
your Golden Boot trophy for the season. Anyway, I think it has to go to Barca or the linesman in the Liverpool game. It's one of those two.
Okay, who are you going with?
Look who's salty now.
It's not salty. It's just straight up fact, dude.
Pick one. Pick one.
I think
Fact.
Barcelona. That was
Congratulations, Rafa
a
Benitez.
legendary
Fact,
collapse.
yes.
It has to go
Yeah,
to
I
Barcelona.
agree with you. given that it's the second largest comeback in history of the Champions League, and arguably, like I said earlier, taking the squads into account, probably the greatest comeback in Champions League history. It's definitely got to go to Barca as far as from my standpoint goes. Roma coming back that much, just unreal in the way they did, and kudos to Roma, but absolutely horrid in my opinion from Barca in that standpoint. Yeah, that shambolic is very appropriate. So that was biggest disgrace of the week, brought to you by Gary Neville. And now we move on to the Golden Dude. Yeah, my Golden Dude.
Golden Dude, in my opinion,
week.
is it's got to go to Michael Oliver. Michael Oliver was fantastic in that game as a referee, and to give that penalty in such a high pressure situation and to get that call right, I just think that was, he didn't bottle it for once.
For fans' sake, what game, and so let us know what game.
I mean, that was
today's game, Madrid Juventus.
Okay.
To send off Gigi Buffon, that's got to take guts.
Okay, controversial decision, but you know what? Interesting decision, Ansh.
I'm gonna give it to Edin Dzeko, man. He was the catalyst for that massive comeback against Barcelona. He was the spark. He was what the team looked to, and he delivered on the biggest night of his career. And I think it has to go to.
If you think about it, if Oliver, since he gave that decision right, if Juventus were to progress,
I don't think we should be rewarding a referee too much for just doing his job.
No, that's underrated though. That's really, because looking at all the refereeing decisions that you talked about, to see a referee that is competent.
I think it points to the fact.
English.
I think it points to the fact of how incompetent the referee has gotten that we're rewarding a referee for doing the right thing.
Agreed, and that's good to see.
You know what? From my standpoint, Dzeko is definitely an option, but I'm gonna have to give it to the team Roma itself. I think
it could have been it could have been Ronaldo too. To have nerves of fucking steel.
Ronaldo is a machine.
You know what? It was great. It was a beautiful
precision.
penalty.
It's like, you guys have seen that GIF on social media with the bot with Zuckerberg, right? The smile to like. It's like Ronaldo's a machine. It's like, I'm gonna pinpoint this thing right into the freaking corner.
That penalty couldn't have been placed any better if you picked it up yourself.
It was beautiful, but you know what? I'm giving this one personally to Roma. I think the fact that they were able to come back that much, and the team itself just played absolutely great. I think they deserve it from my standpoint.
So we're gonna pluralize it. We're gonna make it Golden Dudes of the week.
Yeah,
dudes.
Or
the dudes.
Yeah, the Golden Dudes of the week. And I guess we'll just, that wraps up this episode now, I guess.
Yeah.
And we just want to say thank you again, everyone, for listening. And Ansh, I guess you had something to say?
No, I was just going to ask Shrikar if he has anything else to say for Liverpool, because he's very eager today. You're not going to get the chance again, Shrikar. I mean, you're not going to get it often is what I'm trying to say.
Speak for yourself, but ale, 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 ale. Up the fucking Reds. 5-1 against City. Are you fucking kidding me?
Alrighty. And speaking for everyone.
This is why I hate losing to Liverpool. They make DVDs of it for the next 5 years.
3 times this season. It's the first time a team has beaten Pep Guardiola 3 times
You can
this
be happy
season.
that they haven't won any since the renaming of the league.
No, I'm just... It's just funny because they're gonna make movies of this season just because they beat City 3 times, and it's just
worth
flattering.
it. Completely worth it.
No, so from all of us here,
the best team England has ever seen, Invincibles.
From all of us here, we'd like to say thank you for continually watching. For those who are coming back, thank you for our new listeners. Please subscribe to our channel, like the video. Don't forget to also check out our Facebook page. We are on every platform, iTunes, Google Play, obviously YouTube if you're listening there as well. And keep a special eye out for Friday, roughly around noon Eastern time, which would be kind of like north of New York time. We're going to be releasing our very first but not last episode of This is Football Heritage, where it's going to be covering what will happen to the footballing world when Messi and Ronaldo retire. So keep an eye on out for that.
Sponsored by Jose Mourinho.
Sponsored by Jose Mourinho. Keep an eye out for that, and then you'll be able to hear us again covering this weekend's Premier League matchups.
Couldn't care less.
I'm Tristan.
I'm Ansh. Oh, that was a voice crack.
And this is your boy Shrikar. Up the fucking Reds. See you next week.